All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to another edition of Swag Talk. Of course, this is the show where we cover the swag inside and out. And I am your tour guide around the swag, C Wells, coming at you. And we're going to set the time machine back to the year 2003, man. We're going to check out the 2003 Bayou Classic. Um, Probably one of the best Bayou Classics ever. Really amazing game, great offensive explosion of a game. Swag West Championship was on the line. Just two great teams coming in and battling it out. So we're gonna talk about this game, man. It was a fun game. I enjoy watching it. It's a game I watch a lot, but I enjoy rewatching it this time. And we're gonna talk about this game and just share my thoughts. All right. Before we do all of that, as usual, you can see the socials on the screen down below, so make sure to check those out. Hit that Facebook, which is Swag Talk, Instagram is Swag Talk, Twitter, Swag Talk 76. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell so you can be alerted to any videos that I put up outside of my normal Wednesday and Sunday schedule. And make sure to like the videos and share them, and feel free to comment on whatever you like on the videos. So just, kind of a little bit of a schedule. Tomorrow we'll be dropping our Alabama A&M preview, because I kind of got my dates mixed up when I said I was going to do one show, and I I was supposed to do that one today, but I'm gonna drop that one tomorrow. Wednesday will be our Alabama State preview. Um, I'm gonna probably drop my Alcorn preview on Friday, and then Sunday I'll drop my Bethune-Cookman preview, and then I'll be back on track, and I'll be dropping previews on Wednesdays and Sundays from then on until we finish, and then we'll start with our week zero preview, and then week zero recap after week zero, and on until the season is over with. Swag Smoke live on Thursdays as usual, man. Thank y'all for tuning in last week, man. That show was fun. We had a great time with number 50, so we're gonna keep on rocking and keep on doing our thing. So, make sure y'all continue to check that out. And man, let's jump into this, man. Let's hop into this time machine. Let's set this date for 2003, and let's hit that Bayou Classic, man. This was a great game between two really good teams. Both teams came into this game um, battling it out for the SWAC West Division championship. Grambling came in with a record of they were 9-2 at the excuse me, they were 9 and yeah, they were 9-2 at the time. They opened up that season with a loss to San Jose State 29-0. They beat Alcorn 40-28. They beat Alabama A&M 45-14. They lost to McNeese 31-20. They beat Prairie View 65-7. They beat Valley 45-6. They beat Pine Bluff 41-16. They beat Jackson State 24-17. They beat Texas Southern 48-15. They beat Alabama State 37-34. And then they defeated Savannah State by a score of 33-17, which brings them into the Bayou Classic. They were undefeated in conference at 6-0 at that point coming in, so they were, sitting in first place in the West Division with opportunity to win the division outright and go to SWAC championship game to face Alabama State. Southern was standing in their way. Southern came into this game with a record of 10-1 at that point. They beat Valley 29-0. They beat Prairie View 62-7. They beat North Carolina A&T 35-16. They beat Alabama State 35-10. They beat Pine Bluff 53-7. They beat Alabama A&M 55-25. They beat Jackson State 30-20. They lost to Alcorn 36-34. They beat Allen 65-0. They beat Lincoln 34-7. They beat Texas Southern 24-17. Then they would face Grambling in this game, and then after that, we'll talk about that in a second. So, like I said, both teams came into this game very hot. Both teams had tremendous offenses. Grambling and Southern were number 1 and number 2 respectively in scoring offense in that season. They were also 1 and 2 on third down conversions and fourth down conversions, and also on third down conversion defense. They were first and second Grambling was number 1 and Southern was number 2 in passing offense and passing total offense and first downs. This was just a game of two teams. I mean, both defenses were very good. The offenses were great, but the defenses really didn't give up a whole lot of points over the course of the season. The offenses were able to put up multiple, 40, 50, 40 or 50 plus point games in the season. So it was a matter of, whose team could make the plays. Southern had won, the Bayou Classic the year before, and also in 2000, and Grambling went to the SWAC championship in those games. Grambling won the 2001 Bayou Classic and went to the SWAC championship. Grambling had won 3 SWAC championships in a row at that point. Southern had won the 99 championship, SWAC championship game. So, the Louisiana connection had the SWAC championship on lock at that point. But this was a game that really, was what you want, I mean, and this is something that we kind of got used to at the end of the season. We kind of got used to both of these teams fighting it out for the division championship at the end of the season. So this was definitely one of those type of games, and it lived up to the billing, man. I mean, if you're an offensive person, this game was great, man. You really enjoyed it. It was big plays on both sides. If you're a person who is more of a defensive-minded person, then yeah, this game could probably make you pull your hair out. Although the defenses did make some big stops, from time to time on both sides, but it was an offensive game through and through. Southern scored first when Quincy Richard he ran a short touchdown to give Southern a lead. This game had 5 lead changes, and nobody's biggest lead was more than 10 points. Grambling led by 10 early, Southern led by 10 in the second half. But so, like I said, Southern scored first. Grambling immediately got on the scoreboard with a 71-yard touchdown pass from Bruce Eugene to Tim Abney. Huge play to tie the game up for Grambling. Southern, fell behind at that point. Grambling would score again they would score again on a nice touchdown pass to give them a 14-7 lead and kick a field goal to make the score 17-7 early in the first quarter. Southern would then score the next couple points. They would get another touchdown, this time from Quincy Richard to Chris Davis. Extra point was no good to make the score 17-13. Southern would then score in the second, score a field goal to make the score 17-16. Grambling missed the last second field goal going into the half. So Bruce Eugene and Tim Abney hooked up for 2 first half touchdowns and really big plays for Grambling to give them an early lead. Southern had a fumble. Grambling had an interception early that they threw, so turnovers were even. But it was you figured that you're looking at a 17-16 game. You already know it's going to be a tight game, and both teams are filling each other out. Neither team has really stopped the other. So you knew either somebody's defense was going to dig in and take over the second half, or both offenses was just going to run rampant, and that kind of was the case. Both teams kind of really took over. Southern would then score. After Grambling would kick a field goal midway through the third quarter to make the score 20-16. Early in the third quarter, Grambling had a field goal block. This time they would make one. Quincy Richard would throw a 65-yard pass for a touchdown to make the score 22-20. Bruce Eugene would then throw a 76-yard touchdown pass to Henry Tobert to give Grambling a 27-22 lead. And then we was off to the races. 4 minutes into the fourth quarter, Bruce Eugene fumbled. and Quincy Richard threw a touchdown pass to put Southern up by 10 points. At that point, Grambling got Grambling turned the ball over. Bruce Eugene fumbled. He was running the ball, and the ball kind of slipped out of his hand. Southern recovered it. The next play, Southern tried to throw a screen pass, and Grambling's defensive tackle, Leonard Patton, intercepted the ball and ran it 40 yards for a touchdown to make the score 37-34 Southern. And then, you just didn't know what would happen after that. It was just a back and forth affair. And finally, Southern had a couple long third downs in the third quarter. They converted them, a 38-yard pass and a 28-yard pass, and Southern got the lead. And it was, like I said, it was just a back and forth thing, and both teams, made enough big plays. Grambling would cut it to 44-41, but they could not get over the hump. Like I said, Southern scored on a long drive. Then Grambling got a 71-yard touchdown pass to Tim Abney to put the game, basically to bring the game into what the final conclusion was. But Southern, would drive the ball, could not score at the end. Grambling had the ball with about 2 minutes left, facing a 4th down and 7. And Bruce Eugene would he had a man underneath that appeared to be open for a first down, but he went for a deeper play. Southern got the interception. Grambling had no timeouts. Southern ran out the clock and picked up the victory there. This fourth quarter was ridiculous. 36 combined points, 22-14. Southern outscored Grambling in the fourth quarter. This game, it had it all. Both quarterbacks really put in work. Bruce Eugene finished with over 400 yards. Quincy Richard finished with 552 yards, I believe, 1,136 yards of total offense in this game. Southern, both quarterbacks combined for 67% completion rate, 60 of 90. There were 8 touchdowns scored from 20 yards or more by both offenses. This was just a crazy game. 70,000 people in attendance. This is what you asked for when you're looking for a rivalry game. Two teams, leaving it all out on the line. Southern wins 44-41. They win the West Division. They will ultimately go to the SWAC championship and beat Alabama State 20-9 in that game and win the SWAC championship. But this game could have went either way. Nobody ever fully had control of this game. Even though both teams had 10-point leads at certain points in time, you never really felt like either team, just had the game locked up. It was all, anytime somebody had some momentum, the other team would snatch it back. It was definitely a quarterback duel. You had two guys with kind of different styles, although they were kind of similar. But Bruce Eugene was a big guy. He was a tank running the football. He got I think he ran for about 80 yards in that game. And he had, quite a few big scrambles. Turnovers just did Grambling in. Southern had, their share of turnovers, but Grambling's turnovers kind of did them in late. This would probably be Southern's best team for quite some time. They would start to kind of transition down a little bit. Grambling maintained where they were for a good while. But, like I said, this is a game I really enjoy watching, and I can watch it anytime. And not just because Southern won, but because it was a great game. It was an entertaining game, and it was a fun game. You just watch both teams leave it all on the field. And, the iconic image of Bruce Eugene after the game, distraught. We used to use that, as a way to kind of throw shade at Grambling and mock them. But that is what the Bayou Classic is about, man. This guy went out there and he gave his all, man. He gave everything that he could till he had no more. And you can see that, knowing that they can't reach the ultimate goal because they didn't win this game, is what the emotions of football is, and watching it now, I really respect that because I know, that these guys, they wanted it, they didn't feel like just because they had the undefeated conference record that they were gonna walk in and walk out, but they knew that they needed to get through this game to get where they wanted to go because championships was what Grambling was all about and has always been about. And it was just just the human raw emotion pouring out of him, man. At this age, man, it made me really sit back and really look closer and understand you know this shit hurts. I mean, this was a rough game for them. I mean, the shoes on the other foot, Southern would have been in the same shoes. I mean, it's like one or two plays the other way, and this could have been a different result. So I highly encourage you to check this game out if you haven't. I'll put a link to the video that I watched on YouTube from Alex Hines. I mean, obviously that guy got it all. So I'll put that in the description, and you guys can check it out if you haven't, or if you want to watch it again, you can check it out. So that's our SWACTalk Time Machine 2003 Bayou Classic, Southern 44, Grambling 41. We'll be beginning our 12-team conference previews tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. Alabama A&M Bulldogs are first up. And other than that, man, I'm your boy C. Wells signing out, and I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.